Sidelines live production. Tonight, Ben Troupe of the 84 Regions podcast joins us for What's Got Troupe Trippin'. Browne of SEC Sidelines will join us as well. The new video game, NCAA Football 2026, is on the horizon. Where will the Gators land in the college football playoff? And with that, is there any way that the Gators could go south? An opposing SEC coach seems to think so. Paul Feinbaum seems to think that Arch Manning is the best quarterback since Tim Tebow to grace the ball field. All that and more, as well as Hyper Have At It, on the Lodown with Loren Meadows. We want to thank our sponsors, Belden Law and Titan MRI. Like us on YouTube and Facebook. Follow me on Instagram at Ohio Gator for Life and on X at Real Ohio Gator. Hit that like and subscribe button and hit us with your comments. Let's get to it. While we wait on Ben Troupe, we're going to bring in our executive producer, Brendan Martin. What's up, Brendan?
What is up, Loren Meadows? You've been out of studio for quite a while, sir.
Yeah. The day job, man. It keeps you rolling, But happy to be here, man. Out on the road, out here in enemy country, man. The land of the Longhorns. Austin, Texas. Yeah, and we're gonna get to the
weird. You're getting weird in Austin, man.
We're gonna
some
get
comedy that kill time.
I was down on 6th Street this weekend hanging out. So shout out to Austin. Love the town. Not a big love for the Longhorns, but shout out to the city of Austin. It's been a great 10 days. Headed down to San Antonio for the weekend. Sighted the Triumph. What'd you think? Also, speaking of the Final Four and the most outstanding player, what'd you think about Walter Clayton Jr. getting drafted and then heading out to Utah?
I mean, it was fun loving him for like 2 seconds. Honestly, I don't really have a lot of feeling. I mean, I think it's great for Florida, and I think that's all that good stuff. But we barely knew him. But we knew him well enough to get some hardware. Obviously, I'm happy for him.
Right.
And I think that I think he's going to be a special player. Honestly, I think he could have gone drafted even higher, but I think he's going to be better than everyone thinks as a pro, just because we got to watch him so much.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. And shout out to Will Richard and Elijah Martin both. Elijah Martin went 39th with the 39th pick to the Toronto Raptors. And I think Will Richard was the 56th pick, 59th, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, to the Golden State Warriors. And that's interesting because, a guy like Will Richard kind of fits what Steve Kerr and the Warriors like to do. Would you say that? Somebody who can screen, kind of a 3-and-D guy, will defend. I can see him maybe making that roster. I don't know, what their guards are getting a little older, but he fits kind of a, obviously that's a reach, but same kind of game is like a Klay Thompson, where it's a 1 dribble, 2 dribble shoot, can defend at a high level, not as really maybe as tall as Klay. I think Richard maybe 6'4", 6'5", but really like all three guys to make the roster. Obviously, Clayton will make the roster.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Elijah Martin and Will Richard maybe might spend a little bit of time in the G League, but could end up making those rosters throughout the season.
I liked Elijah Martin. It was just so great down the stretch, and he was clutch. You gotta think that he's gonna make a difference. And he doesn't feel like he's peaked out, right? He feels like he's got a lot more left in the tank as far as learning and development. G League, but I could see him just being a pro, making the team, coming in off the bench like he did for Florida,
right?
And making a difference. He just was, he's a kind of special. I mean, and a lot of, that team will go down. We'll talk about that team and how talented they were, forever. And I think we'll probably have that conversation because we'll see them have such success in the NBA.
Yeah, I think that like you said, a guy like Elijah Martin plays a lot taller than he is. I think he's about 6'2", but very physical, former football guy. He's a guy that could really show up and make an impact early. As a perimeter defender, can shoot it, at a decent clip. And we will talk about this later, but it's going to be interesting because I already got my hotel room for Indianapolis for the 2026 Final Four. So I'm thinking
Wow.
positive for next year's version of the Gators as well. So
You
here we
don't have
go
a
with
hat.
the etymology. What's up? What's up? And
You don't
with
got
that, we
shit
bring
over
in
there and
the
wherever
84
you are in honky
podcast.
tonk.
And
What up, Smoke?
What up, Big Sam? What up, Brendan? It's been a minute, man. It's been way too long, man. What's been going on?
Way too long.
son.
Way too long, dog.
Yeah. But we want to get to it, man. Welcome, Ben Troupe, Florida Gators great, host of the 84 Reasons podcast. And like we do once a month, graces us with his presence on a Tuesday with our newest favorite segment, What's Got Troupe Trippin'? So
Bam.
with that, Ben Troupe, you got the floor. What's got Troupe tripping?
This is what got me tripping, and I'm gonna do my best to try to address this every time I come on here. I'm back in the state of Georgia. I keep getting approached about this NIL, right? But no one wants to listen to what's actually going on. They want to keep telling me, Ben, I think college football is done. I think college athletics is done. They're giving money to the wrong people. And I can say this. So who's the right people? If the student athletes are the wrong people, right? I'm gonna keep saying this. The head coach of Kentucky makes $8 million a year. Football, right? Head coach of Vanderbilt makes $7 million a year. Football, right? What are they gonna do? Their goal is to be as excited as they possibly can be. They're not gonna win the SEC. They're not going to Atlanta. They're not competing for championships, and they make their money. And nobody bats an eye. Lincoln Riley. Perfect situation in Oklahoma. No reason to leave. Now, coach 2 Heismans. Had Caleb Williams in Oklahoma, goes to USC and makes Caleb Williams come with him. Well, that's a lateral move. When is it going to be okay for people to start saying, hey, Ben, this NIL thing, I don't understand it, but I get it. I don't understand it, but I get it. This the only thing about NIL I got a problem with. The women athletes at these colleges and universities are leading the way. You don't believe me? Popularity, check. Social media, check. Followers, check. Olympians. They can represent America, let alone their college and university. So if I do have a gripe, it's because I want to make sure that it's equal. This ain't the WNBA versus the NBA, right? Because if you really want to compare apples to apples, we know who DJ Lagway is, and we know who a lot of those guys are for Florida. If they step outside of Gainesville, you don't know them. These women can step outside of the country, and people are going crazy. I think that you got to compensate that. And Brandon and Loren, I don't know what the number is, right? But it's not going to keep, and to these chancellors, to these presidents, and to these, to these guys that's getting out, these GMs, all these guys getting out, ADs, these ADs got out of college football because they done cashed out. They made so much money that they're gone. You know how easy it is for Jimbo Fisher to sit on the sideline and talk about, I don't think these coaches are coaching good enough. What did you do at A&M? But cash out, right? And what did Jimbo Fisher get at A&M and no one to talk about 10 years, $75 million, fully guaranteed? It was guaranteed. So all I'm saying is this. If we can compensate mediocrity, you got to compensate excellence. I get them student athletes, they are excellent. I don't care how you feel. But yet we want to compensate these coaches who they good at best, mediocre at best, and yet they renegotiate. So I don't want to hear anything else about NIL, people. We got to start shutthehellup.com. Ben Troupe, I'm telling you, I'm sick of it because it's not going to ruin it. It's just making us stand up and realize coach negotiates every year. Yep, and he gets college football playoff bonuses. And he's going to get a bonus if we go to the SEC championship, ACC championship, and he's going to get a bonus winning percentage, and he's going to get making so much money in bonuses that he don't even got to live off his salary. So people, if you expected me to not be in favor of the student athletes, think again, man. Because listen, to the Kelly Ray Finleys of the world, people like myself, Loren, the guys, we got to talk about the ladies like we talk about the guys. That way they stay relevant because we keep them relevant. And yes, it's because I'm a girl dad, and yes, it's because I'm passionate. But I don't want to hear this dumbing down because it's women's sports. No, there are women that play at these colleges and universities. And just because you ain't never been to a game don't mean it ain't lit. It is lit. Get to a woman's game late. I bet you won't get no seat. I guarantee you, you will not get no seat. So that's my rant, man. I just know when it comes to this, name and image likeness is tied to two things: leverage and longevity. The more leverage you got, the better shot you got to have to use that to have longevity. Is Arch Manning good? We don't know, but his last name is Manning and he plays for Texas. You do the math.
Yeah, no doubt. And Ben, I want to, I'm gonna play not necessarily devil's advocate because I agree with you, but I want to ask you about: do you think that one of the reasons that the NIL has been received so poorly is because I think if you had your way and your model, they would be able to get a share or some of the revenue or be given kind of a salary or however you want to word it. But the problem, I think, is when you see basically, and I'm not going to call out any schools, pay to play, so to speak, where they're no longer going to school, where they're no longer looking to get a degree. And now I'm going like a hired gun to the next best thing, the next big check. And I think that's where the problem comes in, is the fact that, like I said, I have no problem with them getting a piece of the revenue. I have no problem with them being able to, if they can tell jokes or do whatever they want to do, whatever, sell T-shirts. I remember back when I was a young buck, Greg Anthony had to give up his scholarship at UNLV because he had a T-shirt business, or be able to get on a car commercial. But now that it's become basically all out free agency, even on a larger scale than we see in the pro sports, I think that's where the problem lies. So I ask you, Commissioner Troupe, what would you do to maybe curtail that so we can get this thing to where it fits where it should be in college athletics?
I mean, what I would do is I would get all these colleges and universities together, the ones that got the funds, and tell them you got to do two things. Y'all got to have a certain cap that y'all gonna hit to say we ain't going over this, because no matter what, it's half the player and half where they at. We only know who these players are because of where they at. Not that most of them ain't even done nothing yet. But I'm also asking them to do this. We talking about the have-gots now. Florida is a have-got now. Florida State and Miami and Texas, it's a bunch of have-nots in the same state. How do we make sure that college athletics all get the benefit from NIL? Because like I know, Loren, it's easy to know what DJ Lagway got or Arch Manning got. It's listen, outside of the big three and USF and UCF and FAU and FIU, it's a bunch of schools saying, what NIL? What y'all talking about? We ain't getting anything. And when I say nothing, they're not getting anything. This is what I would really do. Why it always got to be about the money? Don't they with everybody, Adidas, Jumpman, Nike, Under Armour? Why don't you give them gift cards? I know you give them team gear. Give them gift cards to send home. What about all these local supermarkets? Give them a gift card to go there. What about AMC? Give them a gift card. Why is that important? Loren, the only difference in me and you in college, right? There wasn't a difference. People try to make it seem as if because you go to Florida that you elite. That is not true. If you are a student athlete in college, when everybody else's day ends, that's when your day begins. I don't care if you got Florida on your chest or not. I care about the student athlete experience. When I'm talking to Derek Wingo and he's telling me he got to go speak at NASA, you know how small that makes football? I'm speaking at NASA. So how can we make the experience for everybody that the money is always going to be different. I get that part. But it's so many companies out there. As a person that used to be on sports talk radio, I know about trade and goods and services. So I'd rather ask Popeyes for chicken than money. They got chicken to give away. I'm talking about making sure that every single student athlete, male or female, high profile or not, 5-star, 2-star, no star, get to have the student athlete experience. That's what I would do, because the money thing is always gonna muddy the waters, Loren. You know that. I mean, if we all work at the same law firm, and Loren, you get to become partner in the firm. I'ma clap for you if I'm your homie, but if I'm not, I'm like, how he get it? But right. we forget, man, he the best litigator we got. So you've earned that. I think that for me, the commission, I would say, look, we got to do better with two things. We got to make sure that everybody's benefiting, and we got to make it less about the money and more about the experience. And if you don't think that would help, I go back to my days in Florida. Yes, I had a girlfriend like anybody else. Ain't no going out. What movies? What? Not because I didn't want to, but you've never, listen, there's two kinds of broke in this life, people. There's real life broke and there's college broke. And college broke, a lot of us know that. You see what I'm telling you? So for me, it's not about how much money, because what I'm talking about, you don't need Uncle Sam. You ain't walking out of college with no debt, right? I care more about the student athlete experience, and that is something all of us can help benefit. Whether you are the have-nots, got to make sure that the have-nots get it, because if they ain't getting money, at least they get experiences, man. At least they get exposure. In the words of the great Fred Taylor, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way, he said exposure leads to expansion. Well, if they only get exposed on Saturday afternoons, and that's if they got a big enough TV deal to be seen, man, some of these young men and young women, they're going to feel slighted because they gave the same blood, sweat, and tears as everybody else. They just didn't come out with the same reality and the same results.
Yeah, like you said, I think that's where we got to make sure that we hold on to, because I think I hate when people say, like, my child would have to look me dead in the eye if I'm a soccer player or at Florida or something like that, and say, I'm gonna give up a Florida degree to go to, and no offense, let's just throw a paycheck tech school so I can get more run play instead of going to Florida. We have to come back to normalizing the student athlete. It makes me so angry and it's usually people that either A, didn't go to college, or and they feel like the only reason that somebody's either A, leaving the school, or B, came to the school is because of money. And I want to get back to where, yes, kids are still being able to make money. DJ Lagway is going to make the equivalent of what he's making for the school, no doubt. And, but ultimately, and Lagway himself has to step up and perform. But I would still like to see DJ Lagway have a degree from Florida. And that's where I think, yes, people say, well, they're making so much money now, they don't need a degree. You never know.
Oh, yeah, that don't last.
And where the people we come from, Ben, you and I both know that degree still holds weight just from a historical, socio, just political impact that degree still holds weight as well. And how do we get back to that?
The way we get back to that is how we do anything, incentivize them. Hey, man, what do I get? Because here's the thing, right? If somebody say, why you go to Florida? Oh, man, why not? You talking about the biggest brand in the state. We're going to be on TV every Saturday. We get exposure like crazy from networks the networks from within Gainesville and outside. That UF, that means something. The Gators, that means something, right? When people hear that, they stand up. They listening. So when someone says, well, what if I told you, if you graduated from here, you get this. You got this waiting on you, right? You got this lump sum of money. But on top of that, we're going to make sure you got a 401k to invest in, a Roth ERA to invest in. Because the biggest thing you talking to, Loren, is this. If the only thing we taking back home is memories and wins and losses, that's the problem. We could talk in the barbershop all day, but if somebody say, hey, man, what did you learn when you went to Florida? Let me show you how money really works. Let me show you how investing really works. Let me show you how I make this money work for me. Why you ain't driving no brand new car? Because it's a bad investment. Mm-hmm. Really? Talk about that. It's that part. It's the education part, but you just incentivize them. If I would go to the University of Florida knowing that I got a less than 1% chance of going pro and I still go, Why not go ahead and finish the job and graduate? Oh, and why is that important? The guys with the longest contracts, the longest tenures, and the most money in the NFL, they all got one thing in common. They graduated. So when everybody want to talk about Richard Sherman and how he this and how he that, he was a valedictorian of his high school coming out of Compton, right? And he graduated 3 years out of Stanford. So when you see what he's doing right now, that's not even what he ultimately gonna be when all this stuff is over sports wise. So I do think incentivizing people, Loren. And here's the thing. You know what the incentive is. Now it's up to you. Because once again, the window to make it pro is so small that your fingers couldn't even fit in it. Your fingers could barely fit in that window. And some guys still want to take that chance. Well, if you're going to take a chance on football, basketball, baseball, take a chance on yourself. Go ahead. What is it going to hurt? Your education is free, but what they say, it's not for the next 4 years of your life, man. It's the next 40, the next 50. Here I am, a former NFL player, and people care more about what I did at Florida than what I ever did with the Titans and the Bucks and the Raiders, because at the end of the day, there is brands and there is the biggest brand. The University of Florida is the biggest brand in the state of Florida. And that's nothing against Miami, Florida State, Tampa, Jacksonville, the Dolphins. What do you do? Well, how do I make sure my brand and this brand continue to walk down the road together? That's what the University of Florida does for you. It gets you indoors because of what it means. Because either people root for Florida, root against Florida, wish they could have went, didn't get in, but no matter what, they respect it. So I do think you incentivize them, Loren, to say, look, you're going to walk away from $100K and all you got to do is graduate? $50K, $25K. Mm-hmm. It's more, and for people thinking, well, Ben, that's no money. Let me tell y'all something. No matter what you get, that is not a representation of where you from. Oh, no, that is not the same thing. And I'd rather, and people say, well, Ben, what do they do with the money? It's yours, but we put it in a trust that you get it at a certain point of your life. Why? Because I want you to know that 10 years, when Allen Iverson signed with Reebok, one of his friends put his money in a trust to where he's going to get a lump sum at age 50. I want to say AI is like 47, 48. So
now he got it. He got it now.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, Loren, listen, the only way you teach deferred gratification, you got to show them. That's your money. But we got to protect you, because I'd rather give it to you 10 years after you graduate. Why? Because you ain't thinking the same at 22 as you thinking at 32. You are not. Your life is started. And now all of a sudden, what's the guy, Bonilla, the guy that get the $1 million every year?
Oh, Bobby Bonilla Day.
Listen. It's the Bobby Bonilla NCAA style.
Right.
We gonna make the NCAA, since they getting the best from us, let's not defer the best from them later on. And they don't got to like it, just like our children. My kids don't got to like what I do, but I'm raising them. They ain't raising me. I've been here a little longer than them. Do something like that, because guess who gonna get them? Guess who gonna be cashing out? These ladies. Right. They gonna be cashing out. Oh, and I know what you're saying, Ben. What if I get a master's? That's another. What if I get a doctorate? That's another. What? Mm-hmm. So it should be. And it should double. So if you get a master's, it go from 50 to 100, and if you get a doctorate, it go from 100 to 200. Well, Ben, we can't do that. Yeah, we can. We just don't want to do it because it makes too much sense. Incentivize these young people to stay in school, because guess what? The longer they stay in school, the less they care about the athletic part. Because some of us have no identity outside of athletics. NIL might be the only way to show you a person with or without athletics. You just using athletics as a vehicle. That's just my take. And I know we can find a way to get that stuff done. And that's just coming right here on the Lodown, letting y'all know, look, we really care about these student athletes. Some of y'all just care that they play for your school. Just call it what it is. Right. Y'all don't care nothing about them. They just represent the same colors you rep. And now you thinking, oh, well, they're entitled. Go to a practice and see how entitled that is.
Well, let me do this, and I want to make sure that we at least call this out, Ben, is shout out to DJ Lagway, because you touched on something, early about these women's sports and the discrepancy and where some of that could be. I know we talked about it on Buddy's show on Thursday. I missed most of the discussion. I was having connection issues, but shout out to DJ Lagway for his foundation and putting his money where his mouth is and putting it into women's sports and allowing those young ladies to benefit from that. And I'm sure he'll continue to do that as long as even maybe after when he has more incentive to be a part of it. But I want you to take me somewhere before we bring Rob in about 5 minutes. Take me back to 2001, 2002. Ben Troupe is at the University of Florida. College football game comes out. Ben Troupe is on it. Ben Troupe was a bad boy. Before I met Ben Troupe, Sexy Rexy was the QB. You know, they was doing everything. Ben Troupe was catching the ball, and I was doing my thing with the Gators. But Ben Troupe wasn't getting anything from that. Nothing. What was the dialogue back then? What was the thought? I mean, shout out to EA Sports as they, venture on and with the new version. I think the players are getting double what they got last year. But take me back to that time when Ben Troupe was on the game, playing the game, people making money off the game, the NCAA making money, the University of Florida making money, but everybody loving Ben Troupe. But Ben Troupe is not getting compensated.
I felt like we felt like the Fab Five in 2000, 2001. And we ain't nowhere near Chris Webber and all them. Because here's the thing. It's like an insult to your intelligence. Everybody's saying, oh, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. And every household you go in, that's what they playing. Everybody you see, that's what they playing. And it's not, once again, it makes you think, wait a minute. This just don't feel right, right? Like, and when I say it didn't feel right, it's like, how can they do that? Like, so because we're here, yeah, man, they can plan around this thing. They can have budget meetings around this thing. You know what it made you realize? We ain't amateurs. Ain't no way we amateurs, right? We amateurs? No, an amateur plays T-ball. And you got to point to first base because he'll run to third. That's an amateur, right? Amateurs have a team mom who gonna bring the snacks, right? That's amateurs. You mean to tell me Steve Spurrier couldn't go nowhere in America without getting noticed, and he's the head coach of amateurs? That's the part that didn't feel right. That's Alex Browne right there. That's Gerard Warren, who went third pick overall right there. That go Rex Grossman, who shouldn't have won the Heisman. He's an amateur. Rex Grossman could have been walking down the street with Jeff Garcia, who I think was the quarterback at the time with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't know who the quarterback was, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think Dan Marino, I think he was at the tail end of his career with the Miami Dolphins. And they saw them walking down the street with Rex. They asked Rex, hey, Rex, who your friends, man? Who you guys? Because that's how big Rex Grossman was. It's not so much the NCAA was disrespecting the players. They didn't take into context that the players were pretty smart guys. Like, we pretty intelligent people. And I think what happens is, Loren and Rob, is this. They want to talk to a player about everything but compensation. They want to talk to a player about everything but getting, because it ain't always about the money. But everybody's making money. Everybody. I went to the Outback Bowl twice. I'm not going to lie. I was going to go upon my Outback Bowl ring. And the only reason why I didn't, because they already had a bunch of my teammates' rings in there. Oh, man, I got a whole section of those over there. So I just think for me, it's these players saying, man, how can you be a household name in college and you benefit nothing from what you're doing outside of the fact that you hope you get to go pro? Like, think about it. Everybody in college hopes to go pro. Well, that's a pipe dream. And the reason why I know it is you only know you're going to get drafted until they called your name. Ask Shador. Ask Shador what a sure thing really is. Ain't no such thing. Ain't no such thing. So it wasn't about the money. It was the lack of consideration for who the game was built for and who was on the game. I mean, if my little cousin's coming to me saying, man, I'll play with you. Yeah, man. At first, you're like, yeah, that's crazy, right? But you keep on hearing it. You're like, dang, man. Because they assume we got something for it. They assume we got something for it. And all I'm saying is this. I don't care right now. Yes, I'm a 42-year-old man. I don't care nothing about the fact that I ain't getting nothing. But back in the day ain't back in the day. Right? I mean, it's like this. Listen, it's like the words of Jay-Z. He said, we ain't shooking and jiving and high-fiving. You know this ain't back in the day, right? This just ain't back in the day. Because guess what? Coach Spurrier brand so strong from the early 2000s, he got Spurriers right now in 2025. So you telling me that the brand works? Yes. And it's going to keep. So when the recruits come to Gainesville, before they go to the stadium, they got to go to Spurriers. And I ain't mad at that. So all I'm saying is, how can we make sure that these brands live on? If you can brag on the players, I think you should find a way to work with them. And like I say, I mean, I'm not mad at anybody. I understand it's just how it goes. But it shouldn't be this way, because if I see my sports hero working at a bank, it's not because my sports hero is working at a bank. They saying, dang, man, you work in the same bank, in the same school, in the same state, in the same college that you went to. Yeah. They don't try to promote you or nothing? No. My boss don't like the fact that he went to the rival school. He tried to boss me around because he know I need a check. I don't like that either. I don't think that kind of stuff is right either. But I'm not making excuses. I'm just making sure the fans understand we get it. As former players, we get it is our job to make sure that the future players and the current players, like a DJ Lagway, know, hey man, if all you do is throw touchdowns and win games, man, a bunch of cats gonna do that. That's why he invested in women. He want to be remembered for more than what he does on Saturday, and that's the only part we didn't do. We didn't understand community. We didn't understand impact. We didn't understand influence. We didn't understand use your face, your image, your brand, and your exposure to make sure that community that you in supports you long after your playing days. I understand that now, but that's the one thing I didn't get back then.
Right. Well, Rob, I'm gonna let you go on and get a taste, man. I know you heard some of the dialogue, and we're gonna jump in, but just talking about the NCAA game coming out and what that means every year. And for me, it always meant that college football season was here. But when you look at it, and now they're able to pay the players and things like that. And we're gonna get into some other things about the Gators, but just before we get to our first sponsor, just chime in on what that means to you and where we've come and where this thing is going.
Well, I'm like what Ben said, because we used to have this discussion back when we were in college. We'd go to the bookstore and we'd see these jerseys and say, everybody's buying Bo's jersey, or they're buying Lionel James jersey or Tommy Agee's jersey, and they don't make any money off it. We had this discussion, back in the 80s. I am all for capitalism, man. 110%. I just don't like the portal. I think when you stack Ben Troupe, who's a badass, All-American football player at Florida, worked his ass off, got that year as a starter, number 40 pick in the draft, Ben, is what you said, or 41, 40. You said you'll never forget. Okay. So real NIL, and talking to Cole Kubelik, Greg McElroy, all these guys that I get to talk to when they come to town, real NIL is way better than what they're doing now, because if you've got a kid that's taking money and bouncing from school to school, that's a real negative. We had David Bartu from College Football Matrix on the show yesterday. The NFL scouts are already, NFL executives are already turning backflips when they see a kid that is transferred down. The guys that stay at Power 4 or go P4 to P4 have 7 times as many starts in the NFL as the guys that transfer down, okay? It's a red flag. Look at a guy like Ben. That's a character. That's a good character trait. Nick Saban says you have 2 conversations with the NFL people when they come talk to a player. Ben Troupe. Now, Ben Troupe is the first guy at practice every day. He's always early. He pushes everybody around him. He holds the door open for ladies. He's a yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes or no, sir. He's always at church. He loves his mom and dad. He loves his grandparents. And when you get into the but part, that's when the NFL guys are like, okay, so, hey, pay the players. Just have a deal on the transfer portal to where, okay, give them one get out of jail free card. After that, you got to sit a year. If it's within the conference, it's a 2-year deal unless the coach signs off on it. All we got to do is go back to that. I talked to a guy that runs an SEC collective yesterday. I did a lot of listening, and he said, what you're seeing now with these schools that are still going balls to the walls, throwing all this money out there, come November and December, very likely they're going to have to go tell those very same kids, wow, we're not going to be able to pay you that money. He's predicting there are going to be more flips than you've probably ever seen in college football. I look at a guy like Billy Napier, who's building a culture. It's a grind. It ain't, it's not a sprint. So I think we're going to be in for some real surprises in November. I project the Gators to win 10. What they'll be doing is maybe trading in the 24 for the 25 or the 26 model. That's just what happens.
Right. And, those guys in the NIL, they definitely going to need a good lawyer. Yeah. And that's what we have in Meldon Law, our sponsor, been with us forever. Mr. Meldon, Jeffrey Meldon, and his lovely wife are on a whirlwind tour. We heard about it on Thursday. Heading out, going to be all over Europe doing their thing. They like to have fun, a great group of people. But the people at Meldon Law do a great job for the people of Gainesville, the Florida Gators, and more. And it's about to be football season. They're going to be giving away football tickets, soccer tickets, a little bit of everything, tickets to shows. And they just keep the people in Gainesville happy. And if you need anything, whether it be legal advice for something, personal injury, but they also can help you with estate planning, all of those things. But just really pleased with the support that we get from Meldon Law and, the number one law firm, the only official Gators law firm of the Florida Gators, Meldon Law. We won't back down. Now, think about this, fellas. Okay, we got a couple things going on, and Rob, you touched on it. You got the Florida Gators winning 10.
Yeah.
Ben, I think you got them winning 10 plus. But a little birdie in the Lindy said that Billy Napier is on the hot seat. Billy Napier can't out-recruit Miami anymore as opposing SEC coach. The Gators are not where they need to be, maybe referring to Spurrier's era, maybe referring to Coach Meyer. Coach Meyer has them right at 8 wins. Is this a team that is more made, Ben, for the college football playoff, or was last year's finish a mirage and now we come back to the pack? A lot of our listeners got them, went going undefeated. Somebody says 10 wins. Hope so with that brutal schedule. Ben, you got it.
This goes back to 2024. It's the off season. We got this young kid, DJ Lagway, Gatorade National Player of the Year. He coming in. Graham Mertz coming back. They got the hardest schedule in college football. They might win 5. They might win 6 to get bowl eligible.
Yeah.
How they gonna be Ole Miss and LSU in back-to-back weeks? They need Graham Mertz to be healthy all year. They finished 8-5. Every team they lost to either went to the college football playoff or had a chance to be in the college football playoff. Miami didn't get in. Texas A&M didn't get in. Texas, Georgia, and obviously Tennessee did. The 2 things you need in college football to win is stability at the head coach position because he's going to be there, and a quarterback that has been proven. You got both. Rob said the best, coaching. Here's the thing about Florida. Most teams don't got no tradition to look back to, no coaches to look back to and say, man, I saw their glory years. Most people's glory years is within the confines of those schools. I get it. But, the thief of joy is comparison in it. Ain't going to be another Spurrier. Ain't going to be another Urban, right? That's not going to happen again. But Billy Napier said, okay, y'all say I couldn't recruit, right? Until I start recruiting. Y'all said I couldn't get them until I started getting them. Now it's, he can't get that one. He can't get that one. All Florida can control is what happens on Saturdays, right? Texas coming to Florida. They got to go to Texas A&M. They got to go down there to Miami. They replace UCF with USF. They got a couple of guys. All I'm saying is this, Rob and Loren. If Billy Napier is on the hot seat, so is Brian Kelly. So is Hugh Freeze. It's called being a head coach in the SEC. All of them are. Every last one of them. You don't think right now in Athens they saying, hey, man, do Stetson Bennett got a little brother coming through Georgia? We can't even keep our quarterbacks no more. They go down to Miami. And I get it. Florida is all – I'd rather Florida be under a lot of scrutiny because I don't like a lot of praise. That's what I ain't with. I don't like when the people outside of Gainesville saying they're going to be good, they're going to be good, they're going to be good. Florida had their backup quarterback in against Georgia with 6 minutes left. It was tied 20-20. All I'm going to say is this. What they going to say when the script get flipped? Because no one wants to talk about how we finished last year. Brian Kelly, who kept you out of the playoffs? Lane Kiffin. This is going to be the first team in our Ole Miss history get to go to Atlanta. Who shut that down? Okay. And we was a overtime play away from beating Tennessee. Tennessee got to go to Florida. We know how that goes, even though they flip quarterbacks. I will take all the criticism and none of the praise. I will take everything Billy Napier can't do. But the one thing that the SEC ain't ready for is for Florida to get back on track and then be on the same page. And I guarantee you this. If you got a quarterback that the team believe in, the head coach believe in, they're going to be hard to beat. I'm not saying we won't be beat. I'm saying we're going to be a hard out because I guarantee you this. Arch, he coming to Florida. It's not going to be nice. Both UTs come to Florida this year. Right. Austin and Knoxville. I'm looking forward to a Loren and Rob because I played in Florida. And Coach Spurrier would always tell us this. He said, you're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are. But guess what? Yeah, no matter what, the person that root for you and the person that hates you both got to buy a ticket. They both in the stands. You don't hear about none of it. DJ, man, I ain't never seen a 19-year-old, if he's 19, that ahead of his time. That young man is built, for prime time. He built for the light. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
Rob, and I want you to, piggyback off Ben. I know you bullish on the Gators, but I want to kind of add some food for thought, and our listeners can chime in as well. Arch Manning. Paul Feinbaum came out and said, best quarterback since Tim Tebow in the SEC, maybe nationally. But take that, the Gators schedule, his trip to the swamp to face DJ Lagway. What does that picture look like at that point in the season? And, is that opposing SEC coach maybe could be sour grapes or, always anonymous, but all those things, and you put that at an October date in or November, I think, in the swamp, bring all that storyline to where this season puts us.
It's June 30th. It's July 1st. You say stuff like that. They play October 4th in the swamp. If Arch Manning's name was Ted Kaczynski, I don't know if we'd be talking about him. Well, we would if it was Ted Kaczynski. That guy was I'm talking about. But I mean, it's the Manning name is just powerful. It's a brand. Archie is NIL. I mean, Ben, think about, Ben, how much business you do with people because you grinded it out, you hung in there, and you fought your ass off, and you got a degree from one of the best schools in the country, damn near public Ivy now. I'm serious. I know a lot about Florida. Again, it's one of 6 schools in America with a vet school, a law school, and a medical school. Mm-hmm. Ben, your NIL is way more valuable than some kid bounty shit hunting, every semester, okay? But I'll say this about the schedule. And Ben, it's the psychology. I don't care who we play. I care how we play. That's what I'm telling my damn team in that locker room, okay? Don't get logo fever, okay? And think about the criticism that you hear about your team. Think about how you talk to yourself. Would you let other people talk to you like that or talk about you like that? I would get in my guy's head and say, we can control what we can control. We've got, 8 opportunities in the swamp? Our fans are 102. I looked at all the capacities, by the way. All these people that are trying to, pick out a burial suit, a headstone, and flowers for college football, y'all are crazy. The capacities, I think Arkansas last year was at 122% capacity. Florida, 102%. Auburn, 102. Georgia, 102. The fans can't get enough of this stuff. People have lost their collective minds. Collective. I use the term loosely with NIL collectives, but I'm with Ben and I'm with Loren. Hey, look, I'm not a cheerleader. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. If you ask me, does the dress make me look fat? And it does, I'll tell you. You got to tell people the truth. You don't ever. But last year when everybody was picking Florida, I've learned so much about Billy Napier because I don't know him. But I've learned a lot from Ellis Johnson, who's on our show Mondays. He's known Billy since he was 21 years old. Coaches know what coaches are all about. I mean, I just think maybe he's not the most charismatic guy, but you know what? When parents, I heard Buddy talking about this and friends, and I think y'all have too. When the parents go meet with Billy Napier and that staff, there's a hell of a culture there. And the way you closed in recruiting, you went from the 60s to 7th in 11 days. I mean, there's your statement. There's the canary in the coal mine.
Right. Well, you don't know what time it is. It's hyper have at it.
Oh, shit.
Let's jump into it. Hyper have at it, Ben. Is this Florida Gator team? Well, let me go with the first one. They rank the Florida Gators receiver corps 18th in the country. I mean, is Florida, are there hyper have at it? There are 17 schools that have better receivers than Trey Wilson, J. Michael Sturdivant, Dallas Wilson. You name them. Khalil Jackson when he's healthy. Hyper have at it, Ben.
There ain't 17 NFL teams that got better receiver. But what?
So we go have at it. We go hype. That's hype.
Yeah, that's all hype. And once again, when people say, "Hey, fellas, if you at Florida, don't read the news clippings." No, read them. Read them and use them as fuel, because I'm telling you, they are trying you right now. I mean, I saw a video. You know what I'm saying? A guy walks in and asks the guy this question. He said, "What you know? I'm ducking all this BS you throwing at me." 17? You couldn't name 17 teams. If you announced the 17 teams and Florida was in that building and they said, "You trying to say we a better receiver corps than them?" No, I went to this school because he went to that school. No, it's like that's all hype. And Paul Firebomb, just like Rob said, it's July the 1st. It's a slow news day.
Rob hyper have at it. 17 crews better than the Gators?
No, I mean, they're not. And they've got 6'3", 6'4" guys, big physical guys that can run. And they got DJ Lagway that's going to be throwing the ball to them. What they need, offensive line is a 8th, 9th, 10th best in the country, according to most people. No, I think they're not the 18th best. They're way out. All you have to do is, why did they win last year? They got some talent, okay? And Paul Feinbaum, he'll make you think. I love him. I mean, if he was on here right now, he put out the question last week: is SEC football supremacy, dominance, is it over? No.
Hey, man, he took my question. I said that last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Tell Paul stop fighting my stuff.
Hey, he's watching this show. Everybody watches this channel because of executive producer extraordinaire,
right,
Brendan Martin. I mean, but no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Look, I think they've got a really strong receiver group. And also, I think the defense got better last year at the end of the season. October 4th, when Texas comes to town, then you play I've got them splitting with the Texas schools and losing at Ole Miss at 10-2. You go 10-2, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's what I think happens.
We coming with that. Let's switch gears a little bit, because I just want to get y'all's thoughts. Could Don Staley, SEC, we sticking with our girl in the SEC, could Don Staley coach the Knicks? Hyper have at it. Rob, you go first.
Hell yes, she could. I really do think she could. She played at UVA. She spoke to the Birmingham Tip-Off Club, and I didn't get noticed till like that day. I wish I could have gone. They packed it. I mean, she is she's so competitive. She could do it. I wouldn't even ask if it's a man or a woman, black or white. I don't give a damn. Just give me the best person. She's that good of a coach. She would win in hockey at the University of the Everglades. She's that good a coach.
Absolutely, man. I mean, no, that's half at it. No, that ain't hype. That ain't hype. Don Staley will be the 2025 version of the movie Eddie. I remember when Whoopi Goldberg went from being a fan to coaching. Don Staley is a good coach, period. She's a good coach, period. Because for all the people saying she's only good because she's at South Carolina, do you remember South Carolina women's basketball when she got there? Me neither. But now you can't forget them, right? Give her an opportunity to be bad at it. Because it's a bunch of bad to go around, right? Give her an opportunity to be bad, but they scared she's going to be good. That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
All right. And we talking, like you said, I think, Rob, you answered it. Ben, we're going to kind of keep going at it a different way. Is this a team that is playing in December? This Gator football team, as constructed, probably be ranked anywhere between 10, 11 when it comes out, 12. Is this a team that is built to play in December? Ben.
100%. Everybody says, what does it take to play in December? You got to play solid defense. Tyreek Sapp going to be one of the top defenders in the league. Downs, and at the D tackle position, you see what we got at the cornerback position. You talk about the running game. We got a three-headed monster right there, and we bring back DJ Lagway. And the culture is being built 100% because DJ Lagway has learned how to play the position through adversity, coming off an injury, and he got the 18th best receiving core in the country. So, of course, we could be there. We will be there in December. No doubt.
Rob?
Yeah, I think they will. At 10-2, you ain't keeping Florida out of the playoffs. I mean, I remember last year people thought at 9-3, even 8-4 with that schedule. Again, who you play, it's how you play. I just think that coaching staff, you look at Billy Napier, he doesn't panic. And that's why that team got stronger down the stretch last year. You don't have Jack Pyburn. You got to replace him. But you got 8 sacks against LSU. Remember, Pro Football Focus had their offensive line as one of the best in college football, and you dismantled them on national TV. Ron Roberts, that defense, I told you, they're pretty good. He's not the most friendliest guy probably. He's kind of harsh. I don't give a damn. Just win me ball games, man. Mm-hmm. Coach these guys up. Coach them hard. But I think Ben talked about the Gator running back room. Like that time Ernest Graham was on. As great as the Florida receivers, Riddell Anthony, Ike Hilliard, so many great ones, Jabbar Gaffney, back during the Spurrier era. I can remember Eric Rhett, Pembroke Pines, Florida, Ernest Graham out of Naples or Fort Myers, and Eric and Fred Taylor out of Belle Glade, Florida, the Muck. Those three running backs, in my opinion, that's what I remember about Spurrier's offense. Those guys were closers. You had a big lead, and you just suffocated people with those guys. Ben's right. You got a good running back room because you got some damn good receivers, and you got a special talent at quarterback, and everybody's worried about his health. Look, everybody gets banged up.
Right.
You ain't going to keep that guy off the field.
Well, with that, let's talk about Titan MRI. Titan MRI is new and improved. Under new leadership, Titan MRI and Imaging, Joe Calorio had Highfield MRI. Now he's back serving locations in Lake City, Gainesville, Valdosta, Georgia, and soon to be opening in Ocala. No insurance, no problem. Too big, no problem. Titan MRI is your choice. The number one MRI facility, Gainesville, Lake City, and soon to be Ocala. Rob, who you got on the show tomorrow night?
Tomorrow we're getting closer and closer to the 4th of July. We're trying to find out if Marcel Reed can join us, a quarterback at Texas A&M. If my intern, that was his high school quarterback. I don't know if he can be on. We're going to have him on. Hopefully, he says he'll come on. I got to find out when I get off the show. It's got in from mountain biking. I got Vince Farrar from the Sports Animal in Knoxville, and hopefully, I'll know in the next 20 minutes if we got him coming on, but we got a lot to cover. So it will be fun as always.
Yeah. And sorry, I've been missing you. Appreciate the invite, but duty calls. Also, do you remember Morgan Estel, center fielder for Auburn?
It's not ringing a bell.
Okay. Well, she remembers you. So there you go. So shout out to Morgan. She knew who Rob Browne was. Ben, who's the next guest on 84 Reasons?
I apologize.
Listen, we got some big guests coming up. We're gonna have Keywan Ratliff here soon. Kevin Carter's coming up real soon. We got a lot of former Gators coming up real soon. But I don't know if you can see this, Loren, because I don't know if we're gonna get a chance to. But I'm just saying. I mean, I got some heat right here.
Okay, and look, I'm with you on that. I see you, boy. You don't know about them PSGs.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I got some heat.
Kicks of the week. You know what I got. We're gonna have to battle it out. Kicks of the week.
Let's do
Every
it.
month, Ben Troupe, bring your kicks, baby. I hear you.
Let's do it.
But Appreciate you guys joining us on the Lowdown with Loren Meadows. We'll be back at home in Gainesville. And we'll be back in Gainesville. Shout out to Hoka and everybody holla at us. We'll be back at home in Gainesville. Appreciate everybody joining us. We'll be back coming to you live from somewhere. Good night.
Thank you, man. Love being on.
All right.